and Farron and Dorsey from Ropes and Gray for helping us set this all up. It was a big help. Finally, without further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. Moshe Bain, President of the OU and partner and chairman of the Business Instruction Department at Ropes and Gray, without whom none of this would have been possible.
So there was, originally the way this event started out was that I was approached to be a speaker at a speaking event. And I said, okay, but where are you going to have it? They said, we don't know. They said, well, who's going to cater? We don't know. So I said, well, I have a proposal. We'll do it at Ropes and Gray. The Orthodox Union will sponsor it and I won't speak. Is that a good deal? So I agreed I'll speak for a couple of moments, but this certainly will not be a presentation of any moment. I first want to thank you all for joining, both on behalf of Ropes and Gray as well as by behalf of the Orthodox Union. You know, the Orthodox Union is very eager to connect with you in the context of your meeting tonight, but it's a little more than just the networking per se. I think our perception is that for those of you who are starting out in your careers as observant Jews, starting a career in law, there are enormous challenges, and everybody keeps on talking about the challenges of being Orthodox in the workplace, kosher, Shabbos, and a million other things, but there's not enough talk about the opportunities, the unique opportunities you have as an Orthodox Jew in the legal field. And I'd like to focus for a couple of seconds on two of them. These are enormous opportunities. Number one, there is enormous amount of work that people with a legal background could contribute to the welfare of the Orthodox community. In terms of legal work, in terms of expertise, in terms of knowledge and wisdom. And the experience that you're developing both in school and thereafter, I hope you do really well in your career. I hope you think about the community and use the expertise that you've developed and contribute back to the community using it. There's so many opportunities in so many different areas. And at the OU, we're hoping that you'll engage with us because we have so many needs for young professionals to use their wisdom, to use their time. You're not gonna have all that much time, but you'll have enough time to do something, to feel that you're contributing, and the contribution could be enormous. Number two, and this may be even more important, the opportunity to Mekadesh Shem Shemayim, to give an example of what it means to be an Orthodox Jew and the values it represents, the behaviors it represents, is unparalleled in almost any area of life. You're working in a commercial environment, you're setting an example for society as to what our values are, our behaviors, our attitudes. And it's an opportunity that you should not squander. And that's one of the things that we talk about all the time at the OU, how to take the opportunities of American society and take them to the advantage of growing as Jews. You know, it's an interesting period of the year, the 3 weeks. Today is first day after Shavuos Tammuz. We begin the 3 weeks, and it's a march to Tisha B'Av. And in many regards, Tisha B'Av is an incredibly devastating day. It's a very sad day. And we all sit on the floor and we lament the Churban HaBayis, the destruction of the temple. And the question is, well, number one is, what are we really mourning about? We never saw the temple. We never experienced the temple. How are we supposed to possibly lament and cry over something that we've never seen and never really lost? We never had it to begin with. But yet, it's a halacha, and that's what we're supposed to be doing. So what does that mean? And number two is there a special opportunity? I was once told that Tisha B'Av gives us a unique opportunity that we don't have any other time throughout the year. I want to suggest, this is based on a thought I heard many, many years ago from Shimshon Pincus, who's no longer alive, who's a very, very well-known rabbi in Israel, who suggests that the reason that Tisha B'Av is so special is because it's a time, perhaps the most opportune time through the course of the year, to evaluate our relationship with God. We all try to be observant, we all try to connect, we all try to pray and learn Torah and do all the other things, and we really don't know how are we supposed to gauge that relationship. And we have other relationships with people, with our parents, with our spouses, with our girlfriends or boyfriends, with our children, and we're able to gauge, how am I doing? How are they reacting? How are we responding? How do I feel about them? When it comes to God, how are you supposed to gauge where you're sitting with God? How are you supposed to know? Now, perhaps the reason that we lament and we cry over the Churban HaBayis, on the destruction of the temple, is because it is, in one regard, about the destruction of that incredibly important edifice in our lives, in the history of Jewish people. But it's not just the building. The Beis HaMikdash offered us an opportunity to connect to God in a very special way. And the destruction of that temple is a breach in that relationship. It's a diminution in that relationship. It creates a difficulty for us to connect. And we're crying over the loss of the relationship between the Jewish people and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, we're able to not only apply it to the Churban Abayis, we're able to apply it to everything that goes on in our lives. Every time there's a Jewish child who's deprived of a Jewish education, who doesn't get to connect to their religious heritage, that's a Churban Abayis. Every time there's a family that becomes alienated from religion, that's a Churban Abayis. Every time one of us enters the workplace, and by virtue of our commitment to our career, we diminish our relationship to our religious observance, that's a Churban Abayis. And that's what we're lamenting, because we're living in Golus, we're living in exile, we don't have the Beis HaMikdash, we don't have all the mitzvahs that were relating to the Beis HaMikdash, and it creates a vulnerability in that relationship, and that's what we're lamenting. So Rav Pincus suggests the following. He said, it's an interesting thing. When you go to a wedding, and you see everybody dancing around the bride and groom, it's almost impossible, just by sheer observation, to identify who is the sibling, who is the best friend, and who's a neighbor down the street. They're all dancing with great joy, and they're all really happy, and they're all smiling, and they're singing, and you really can't gauge where everybody sits in relationship to the bride and groom who are celebrating their marriage. But Nebuch Lo Aleinu, you go to a Shiva house, and you look at the people sitting around the people sitting Shiva, and in a minute, you can identify who's the sibling of the person sitting Shiva, who's a sibling of the person who died, or the parent or the child, who's the best friend, and who's just a casual acquaintance. In a minute, you could identify their relationship to the person who died. And that's what Tisha B'Av gives us. How do we feel? When it comes to Purim, it's very easy to all be joyous with God. When it comes to Simchas Torah or Shavuos or any other, it's very easy to be joyous. But on Tisha B'Av, it's an opportunity for us to gauge, how do I really feel about my relationship to God? How is my religious status? Where am I sitting in my religious journey? And that's an incredible opportunity that should not be wasted. So I hope that you all join us again at future events. The OU is very eager to work with you in your student leadership in developing this relationship further. We think there's enormous opportunities for us to work together and help you further the mentoring, further the networking, and further your involvement in the community. So thank you all for coming. On behalf of the Ropes in Gray, we also very much enjoy your attendance tonight and look forward to meeting you again. Thank you all.